Hey, yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? Hey, man, it's your boy Rock from Rock Lifestyle, and this is the Black Sheep Parlor. Now, like always, I got my man E and my homeboy Alec. Now, today, like I always say, we always have special guests, right? We always have somebody unique that actually going to bring something different to the table. And the reason why we reach for these people is because we want to give you guys the best. We want to give you guys the insight of what's going on in each individual field. So that's why everything is like a shotgun, right? It's all over the place, but it makes sense when it comes down to the end. Now, today, guys, I have a really good friend, um, actually a great mentor also, and I aspire to be like him myself because his physique is just crazy. And, nevertheless, I'm introducing Mr. Peter.
Thanks, guys. Great to be with you guys.
Yeah,
I think I was with Rock. I think I was with you earlier today.
yeah, man. We always meet up at the gym. We go to Metroflex, right?
Yes, sir.
And Peter is one of the legends out there. And I'm sorry, introduce him wrong. This is Dr. Peter Cichonski, right? I said that right?
Cichonski.
Oh, see, I said it wrong.
Cichonski.
Cichonski. All right, guys? Cichonski?
I'm trying to teach my wife also, and she's getting yeah. She was a Johnson, so going from Johnson to Cichonski, it's been 29 years, and we're still working on it, but we're getting there.
Well, you love it.
But she now says Cichonski.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm one day gonna get that. You know what I
mean? there's a learning curve for us sometimes.
She says 29 years, Rock. You still got some time.
Well, man. Well, like we said, man. Peter, man. First of all, can you just tell people just a little bit about yourself, like where you from?
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually from the East Coast. I'm from Massachusetts. I'm from a small town called Gardner, Massachusetts. I've been actually here in California longer than I was lived out there. I'm going to be 60 years young at my next birthday, which is coming up in July. So next time I step on stage to compete, I'll be in the 60 plus. Well, I'll still be in the same division, but I'll be in a different age bracket. But I've been out here for 33 years. I grew up back east. I went to undergraduate college back east and earned an accounting degree. And so, most people when they are growing up, especially guys, we kind of don't really have a clear path maybe. And when we're through high school and, I took an accounting class in my senior year and I really liked it. I liked numbers. I was kind of entrepreneurial. I grew up, selling blueberries on the side of the street and, we go pick them and sell them. And, I always wanted to learn about business. So I figured the best way to learn about business was accounting. So I did that. I went to college in 1980 and graduated in 84 with an accounting degree. Worked for a Big 8 public accounting firm as a financial auditor for a few years, but it just wasn't my bag. I mean, I liked business, but I didn't like big corporations being part of them. I liked, more the entrepreneurial side. And, once I figured out that side of it, I actually started a fitness consulting business. In 1980, I started that in 87 and it's called NutriFit Systems. And, back in New England, where I'm from, there were no big box gyms like we have out here, the LA Fitness and 24 Hour and that sort of thing. They were all, Al's gym and Joe's gym. And so there was really no such thing as a personal trainer back then. And so, I figured, I was already competing. I'm a competitive bodybuilder also. And I did my first competition in 1981. So this year will be my 41st year competing. And, I also had a minor. So I majored in accounting. I had a minor in nutrition. And I actually started the fitness consulting business while I was still in accounting. And what I would do is I'd go to a gym and I bought some body fat testing equipment, and this was 1987. So, I mean, literally the first laptop that ever came out was, no hard drive. It didn't have any sort of bells or whistles. It was just basic, but it had a nutrition software program, and I had a body fat testing apparatus that I used. And I would just go to I would line up about 5 or 6 gyms, and I would offer them a service that nobody else was offering them. I could help their clients, like basically what a trainer does today, right? But there were really no trainers back there. And so I would spend a week at a gym. I'd line up maybe 6 gyms throughout the New England area, and I would go and I would put up a sign-up sheet, and I would do some body fat testing. I would do some nutritional counseling, and I would set them up on workouts. Typical trainer, right? And I did that for about 2 or 3 years, and I could help people with nutrition. I could help people with exercise, but I couldn't help them with injuries. And I had all the same injuries everybody else had, right? I mean, I'm still in my mid 20s, and in the gym, just not understanding biomechanics, and just been working out for quite a while and competing. So I got super interested in injuries, and I had enough of my own. I was a competitive freestyle skier, and so I was competing in mogul competitions. You guys see the moguls? You guys see any of the Olympics this past winter?
I only caught the bobsled team, to be honest.
Okay, yeah. From Jamaica.
Yeah, it was actually it was Russia versus China. It was a single sleds.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, anyways, I don't know if you know what mogul skiing is, but you go down a hill. There's a bunch of moguls, and there's some jumps. And long story short, I ended up going off, doing a 360, and landing on the front side of another mogul, and just whole back of my head went numb. And nobody could help me, man. I was seeing a massage therapist, and she said, man, I think I'm going to have to, give you a card to this physician, this chiropractor. And I said, I don't know. Well, nobody else was helping me. So I went and saw this guy. It was on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, and literally was 90% better after one treatment, and couldn't believe it. And so, I got super interested, and ended up coming out to California out here in 1989 to start chiropractic school. And so I earned my bachelor's degree in human biology in 91, and my doctorate degree in chiropractic. I actually did it simultaneously, because what they do is they count your entering into the program with enough general ed credits to earn your bachelor's in in human biology along the way as earning your doctorate. So you don't have to repeat courses that you're going to be taking anyways. So I earned my doctorate degree in 1992, and been practicing ever since. Since 30th year right now, practicing as a physician.
That's awesome. That's a long time and a lot of experience. I mean, I'm kind of curious, back then, what kind of body fat testing did you guys have? I mean, honestly, because I got my bachelor's in physiology, and then ended up getting my master's in business, but predominantly.
So we're going the opposite, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I worked at physical therapy clinics for a very long time, and I realized I'm not making a whole lot of money there. So I was like, let me get an MBA, and I was a personal trainer as well. But I'm curious, back then, I know now we have the DEXA scan, the bod pod, we have the VO2 max test as pretty across the board test that we use in physiology. What did you use back then?
We used something called bioelectrical impedance.
Oh,
there was right? Bioelectrical impedance, hooked up the wrists and the feet. That piece of equipment cost me $3,000, and that was back in 1987. So you can imagine what it would have cost now. And so it's bioelectrical impedance, and it worked really good actually. The gold standard back then was always the hydrostatic weighing, right? The dip tank, right? but bioelectrical, but that's not too portable. You know, I could take my bioelectrical impedance analyzer with me, and I had a software package for it on my computer, and got the job done. I printed out a nice report, and it was good. I don't know if they still use bioelectrical impedance, but when I actually graduated from chiropractic school, I'm sorry, when I was in chiropractic school, you know, I didn't have a job, so I actually put myself through chiropractic school, coming out here with my equipment in the late 80s, early 90s, and go into family fitness back then, and 24, it wasn't 24, it's family fitness, and doing the same thing and earning money through, you know, doing the same thing I was doing then.
Right.
So
Great hustler, Peter. You was a hustler, dog. Like, what's good?
yeah, man.
Yo, let's take it back. I don't mean to, I'm still in the maze. Now, Peter, I've been knowing you for like what, 5 years now. Dude, you was a extreme ski person, like doing 360s and all kind of stuff, and like you walk around so calm and so cool. I thought people that did that have crazy hair. You know what I mean? Like,
I also raced mountain bikes. I was a mountain bike racer, so I did that as well. Yeah.
so just extreme. So, all right. I understand you said you was a bodybuilder, right? You started bodybuilding in 1980, right?
81. 81 was my first show.
What made you decide to be a bodybuilder? Because you was already skiing, you were already racing doggone mountain bikes. You
I
probably
didn't
was
start racing
wrestling.
mountain bikes till the 90s. I didn't start racing mountain bikes till I got out here in California.
Oh, okay,
I did that while I was going through chiropractic school. I was competing and racing mountain bikes at the same time, but I couldn't do them in the same season because, you know, racing mountain bikes cross country, it takes literally takes a lot of muscle off your body because it's more of an endurance sport. And so I would have a season of racing because I couldn't train my legs when I was racing mountain bikes because I wouldn't recover in time to ride again. So, you know, but so that's what I was doing back then in the 90s. But how did I get into bodybuilding?
hmm
I was an athlete in high school. I played soccer and baseball. I was a ski instructor in the winter because I grew up right near a mountain. And so, you know, I skied, I played soccer, and I played baseball. And my senior year was a little rough. In the fall of my senior year, playing soccer, I broke my foot. So it put me out of commission. But what really put me out of commission in the spring of my senior year playing baseball, I was up at the plate and I took a pitch to the face. And yeah, I thought it was a curveball, but it didn't curve. So, so
Did you walk it? Did you walk it or did you just leave?
sorry.
Did you walk it or did you just leave when you got hit in the face? Did you
Oh,
walk
I
to
was
the base?
down. There was blood everywhere, man. There was blood on the catcher home plate. I totally had to be surgically reconstructed.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, so it broke everything here, and literally had the lace marks of the ball on my face. It was crazy. And
The bone and everything is just shattered.
yeah, mostly my nose and cheek right in this area. And so so the surgeon, I just remember my mom freaking out, obviously, but I remember going to the pre-op, and I remember the surgeon asking my mom for a picture. And I don't know if I'd seen my face yet. I kind of saw it, but not real good. And my mom says, "Well, yeah, I have a class picture." He goes, "Okay, you bring in the class picture. I'll make them look like that again." So did a good job, man. No
Oh, yeah.
scars, nothing. They went all inside. It was yeah, that was 1980.
Wow, that's crazy.
So since I had that injury, I was going to play baseball or soccer in college, but I couldn't do that. This was 1980. There was no face protecting gear to be able to. Basically, if I got hit, I was a second baseman in baseball. If I got hit again with a bad hop within that 2-year period, it would have messed me up pretty good. And so I had started working out my junior year in high school, and I figured I'm going to go to college. I'm just going to keep working out. And so I just kept working out. And then when my junior when I could have walked on to try out, because I'd already been here for 2 years. I just said, no, I'm good. You guys see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. Yeah, your screen's changed. Anyways, I just figured I was good, so I'm just gonna keep training. And so I did my first show in 1981.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been training. It's been my sport ever since.
Now, were you immediately hooked when you did your first show, or did it take some like?
Oh, I got my butt whooped. It was. I had no coach. Again, this was 1981. There was no coach. I knew nothing about nutrition then, right? Because I hadn't gone down that road yet.
Right.
And just followed what I knew to do. I think I was 149 pounds, and it was not a drug tested show. It was an AAU show.
Oh.
The Mr. Massachusetts show, and these guys, I could tell, were using gear, and I just got my butt whooped. And so I competed one more time in 1982, AAU, and then I decided I was not going to compete again until there was shows that were testing for steroids. And so and that wasn't until 1985. So there was an organization called the ANBC, the American Natural Bodybuilding Conference, that appeared. I found them. And so I started competing again in 1985 in that natural organization. And I don't think I've competed in a non-tested show since. So yeah, that's how it started.
Now do you?
Yeah, Manny for life, baby.
Yeah, I'm getting that you're very curiosity driven, and then
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
essential when you do research. That's what I've seen.
And I want to know.
Yeah.
I'm known as the head lab rat in the office by all my patients.
Yeah.
Because I have a mentor who's a neurosurgeon, and I actually still pay him monthly to educate me in deep science and quantum biology, circadian biology, and I take all this difficult science and I get an understanding of it, and then I apply it to myself in a practical way. I take that information on stage with me. That's how I get ready for shows. That's why I still love to compete, because being the head lab rat in the office, I get to understand this stuff and just see how it works for me. And every year is different. I keep what works. I do some new things. Like this year, I'm doing something I shouldn't say totally different. I'm doing something different. Every year I do something different. I add to the mix. And for me, it's just, it's a fun journey to just see where it takes me. So
the human body is very complex to where you can always pique your curiosity in that manner. I mean, it's one of the things that I really enjoyed when I was going through my physiology degree.
It's unbelievable.
Right.
How complicated and complex it is.
Yeah, definitely. But I was fortunate enough to help on a couple of studies, and we were one of the studies that stood out to me was the effect of cranberry juice on, I think it was blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a 16-week course study. It was, I believe, 12 other males within my height, weight, and body fat range. And we would do blood draws, blood pressure tests, and I forget something else. And it was always fasted. And to see the results on paper at the very end, I was just like, I would never guess or assume that it would make such a drastic difference. So, I mean.
So in what category, what component did it make the biggest difference?
So one of the things, I actually can't remember, but I know that they started seeing that cranberry juice does open up the vessel to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so long ago, I can't be able to tell you. But I know being in the lab definitely was, for me being a sophomore at that time, helping in the lab, it definitely put a smile on my face, to say the least, helping the seniors.
Food is nature's medicine.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember you was telling me about the sun. I mean, remember we were sitting down talking about the sun. Now, guys, Peter is one of those people that he works outside. Most of his working out, most of his training is all outside.
Mhm.
And I happened to walk by him one day and I asked him because the gym was empty.
And what was I wearing, Rock?
And you was wearing no shirt. He's not wearing a shirt. And he does this religiously, right? And now Peter looks good, so I guess he can walk around with no shirt if he wants to.
I think why people at the gym think that's why I walk around that way. But I'm absorbing as much natural light as I can, man. It's the best thing for human health.
And that's what you were telling me about. You were telling me that our body is just like a solar panel. You know, it helps heal you. It gives you energy. You know, charge you up. And also, you was telling me it helps you for digestion, right? That's what you was telling me, right?
I mean, it does help you for digestion, for sure. It will help you with almost any ailment because every cell in your body has receptor sites for components, wavelengths of energy that are in the sun. And so your cells crave these wavelengths of energy in order for them to work efficiently and appropriately. And so if you, and my mentor, my neurosurgeon mentor, Dr. Jack Cruz, will tell everybody, if, you know, whenever he gets a question about an ailment, you got to put that body part in the sun and absorb the ultraviolet light, which makes vitamin D, right? Ultraviolet B. So I don't want to get too complicated, but there's every ailment known to man can be benefited from using natural light as a remedy. As a matter of fact, the fact is that all-cause mortality, meaning dying from any cause, is diminished the more time you have under natural light.
Wow.
So that, and I mean, we can get into some of the reasons, you know, why, and like I did with you, Rock, but I mean, that's essentially, you know, how it works. And think about it. How long have humans been on the planet? It's debatable, right? But let's just say 10,000 years. Okay, we'll give a number because there's so many different sources that you could go to. But I'm pretty sure 10,000 years we've been around. So in those 10,000 years, when did we get light that was not natural, artificial? It's only been since the 1890s. There was a race in 1894 to light the World's Fair with electric light, artificial light. So that's only been about 130 years that we've had artificial light, right? And so humans are designed to receive wavelengths of energy from natural light that drives all of our biology. I ask every patient in my office this question. You know, we have our master computer is our brain, right? Our brain runs our body, right? Right. So the computer we're on now, we're talking because we can program that computer and we can get the information that we want, right? So when you're not programming it, it's idle. It's not doing anything, right? So your brain is your body's master computer. Who programs or what programs your brain?
Good question. I would have to take the educated guess and follow the fishing lure and say, well, light.
Right. So because most people, I should have started this question cold, like, hey, what powers your human brain? Because that's what I ask my patients, and they say, well, your thoughts, your nerves, you know, all of those things are powered. Your brain powers those things, right? So what powers your brain is wavelengths of energy from the light. I'm sorry, from the sun. From sunrise to sunset, there is you guys all know, you've seen all the colors of a rainbow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen a rainbow. You know, that's all wavelengths of energy from the sun that are being refracted through water, right? That's why you see a rainbow. All of those colors are wavelengths of energy. blue. We all know about blue light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of what, we're told probably not a good idea to be on a device like we are right now before bedtime, because it could do what? Disrupt your sleep.
Yeah.
Right?
It's your internal clock, right?
Right. So the blue light from either artificial light or from the sun goes into special receptors in your body, in your eyes, your skin, your fat, and your blood vessels. But especially in your eyes, it goes into your retina, and behind your retina there's a little timepiece. It's basically your body's master clock. It's something called the SCN, and that wavelength of energy, or the color temperature. So, if anybody's a photographer, they would know this. I didn't know this information, but light has a temperature, right? The sun gets hotter as it comes to noon. It's cooler in the morning, cooler later on. So when the sun comes up, the color temperature of the blue light is a certain number. Okay, just for this conversation, we'll say it's 1800. Okay, and so it will change every second, every minute, like the hands of a clock, a second hand, right? As the day goes on, the color temperature changes just like a clock, and it gets, higher and higher in color temperature, and your eye picks up on that color temperature, goes to that piece in your brain, and it registers that time of the day. And so at that specific time of the day, your brain's supposed to do X or Y, make these hormones, make some testosterone, make some growth hormone, shut down melatonin. So it's going to do all of these things if it's on the right time. And at the end of the day, when the sun sets and there's no more blue light in your world, you go through your recovery phase. That's when other things happen, right? So every wavelength of light has a program for your body to do. So the blue light turns your ignition on for your brain in the morning. That's why I go out every morning at sunrise. I do some stretching, I do some foam rolling. I'm barefoot on the ground. I ground to the earth for a different reason, to absorb some of the electrons that the earth has to offer. As a matter of fact, I'm barefoot right now on a grounding mat as we speak. But we can kind of get into that in a little bit if you want to. And so, I do that at sunrise. So I get my clock turned on, so my body knows what time of the day it is and what it's supposed to do. And if you don't do that, for instance, from sunrise to the first 4 hours after sunrise is when all the good stuff with your hormones happens. Your body makes growth hormone, your body makes testosterone, it makes melatonin. It makes all of these from sunrise till about 4 hours after. And then when the sun gets to a certain height, it shuts all that down. And so think about putting those are the hormones you need, and they get put in the tank. It's like hooking up to the gas pump, putting it in your ear, and you're making all of these hormones for those 4 hours if you're getting the proper signaling. If you're not, you're then when that shuts off, whatever you got in the pump, it's all you got for the day, right? And so if you understand that, you can maximize your body's ability to make it through your day and to maximize the efficiency of how your body works and how it's programmed. I always tell my patients, humans are the only species intelligent enough to invent artificial light and dumb enough to live under it 24 hours a day. Because I look at artificial light as I look at artificial food. I look at natural light as I look at natural food, because all natural food is usually grown under natural light. So if you really want to look at it that way, natural light is akin to natural food, as artificial light is akin to artificial processed food. And so if you kind of get an understanding of that and understand why a little bit, then you get a better understanding of how important it is to get natural. As humans, like we said, 10,000 years, maybe longer, maybe shorter,
Yeah.
That's all we knew. So our biology is built in to, that's how we are powered, not what's around us all right now, the artificial stuff. It's actually lying to us, because all artificial light is manufactured with blue light, right? LED light, which our computers are backlit with, our overhead lighting, pretty much everything's LED. In my office here, I don't have LED light. I only have incandescent light. The old style light bulbs, because all of the old incandescent lights, which they outlawed in California, I guess they don't really sell them anymore. I had to get them on Amazon. Are made with all 7 of those wavelengths of energy that are in the sun. Okay. Yep.
I did not know that.
Artificial light, specifically LED, is only really one frequency. Can you guess which one it is?
Blue light.
Blue. Do you know why?
It's the brightest, right?
It's the brightest and it's the coolest temperature-wise. That's why LED lights don't get hot. So you can, somebody thought it was a good idea to make a light, that is, and it sounds like a great idea, make a light that uses a lot less energy, and it's brighter. But they didn't take into consideration that now that is manufactured at a certain color temperature. That color temperature represents solar noon. That's why it's so bright. So whenever you're under the influence of artificial LED lighting specifically, which is what we're almost under the influence of regularly, it's 12 o'clock noon in the middle of the summer, 365. So your biology is picking that up, and so it doesn't know what it's like Groundhog Day, right? So your biology does not function that efficiently.
It's interesting you say that, because it almost begs you to observe, because obviously I've dealt with a lot with, I'm a big animal fan, and you see animals, they seek out sunlight naturally, and now
it's instinctive.
Yeah. And,
See, they haven't invented artificial light yet.
Yeah, right. They don't have that complex thought yet. It's only human beings who could, invent something and then put themselves in a prison at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
but it made a lot of sense because remember when Corona hit, right? The coronavirus hit, and everybody had to stay inside. Like,
thing you could have done.
You start seeing how it was affecting people, like emotionally, physically. You know what I mean? And everybody was kept blaming it on Corona. Corona, no, it's you wasn't getting enough sun, or the sun regulation that you were getting. So now you're under this light, but it's really not true light. Like, that's crazy. And a lot of people say they had insomnia after going through Corona. And I can see it now because, like you said, it's 12 o'clock all the time in your house.
Yeah.
Light on.
All the time.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have melatonin in your blood at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, sunlight is more than just, vitamin D also, right? If you want to boost your mood, you want to feel better, you got to go outside with nature, It makes you feel better.
100%. In that period, I was posting on Instagram and Facebook. Lockdown doesn't mean locked in. Lockdown means you can be on your property, but be outdoors. Yeah. And so we spent all our time, outdoors.
Yeah, I like to play basketball outside, and we're out here in Arizona. We got too much sunlight sometimes, right? But
I'm curious. Do you know off the top of your head?
Well, it's not so much.
Go ahead.
I'd say it's not so much the sun in Arizona; it's the heat.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you've seen or heard of any of these kind of protocols being implemented with veterans, because I know obviously, like as you were saying, sunlight has a huge effect on our sleeping patterns, our mood patterns, and the way we operate at certain efficiencies. Veterans, I mean, one of the things there are a lot of research is going into is PTSD.
Correct.
Have you seen anything in regards to that matter as far as research? How if it's beneficial, concrete evidence towards that?
If it's concrete, well, it's concrete evidence for any human, right? For all disease processes. And the human brain is programmed by natural light. So it only makes sense that you can only help yourself by getting exposed to natural light. And there was a program that in my office, I've got some veterans, and one of the wives of one of the veterans was trying to get the program. She's a social worker in this area, and she, through Loma Linda, the VA in Loma Linda, California, they were running a program on the deprivation tanks, the float tanks.
Yeah, the float tanks, yeah. Sensory deprivation. Yeah.
Right. Trying to reset everything. And so I know of that program that's ongoing. I don't know of a specific program utilizing circadian biology, because everything we're talking about is circadian biology. It's how humans live through a 24-hour day-night cycle. Your day cycle is about liberating resources to be used. That's why the sun allows your body to liberate resources to get you through your day. And then when the sun goes down, melatonin gets put in your blood to allow you to sleep and recover from your day so you can recover for your next day. If you're in front of the wrong kind of light, once the melatonin gets put in your blood at sunset, right after sunset. And then the longer you're under the influence of artificial light from sunset till the time you go to bed, the more melatonin you dilute. So the worse your sleep is going to be. That's why a lot of people have big challenges with sleep and have to take all kinds of things to stay asleep. That's melatonin is what allows you to stay asleep. You can fall asleep when you're tired, but you will be restless and you won't sleep that well if you don't have enough melatonin in your blood. And it's not a great idea to take melatonin on a regular basis because, melatonin naturally in your blood is one thing, but when you use artificial melatonin, long term, it gives you problems with detached retinas and macular degeneration. So a lot of people don't know that. It's okay to use it once in a while if you have trouble sleeping, but some people are under the wrong kind of light so often, all the time, that they do it regularly. And I've got a number of patients that have had those sorts of problems longer term. So I try to teach, this again, this is a lot of the stuff we talk about in my practice.
Man, this has been interesting, bro. I learned. hey, I always use my science teacher because I would actually remembered a lot more, because the way you broke it down, you made it like actually relate to like life. Like a lot of people have a lot of knowledge, and me and you had this conversation, Peter. A lot of people have a lot of knowledge, but they just don't know how to distribute it out so people can actually take it all in. And
sure.
You've knocked it out of the park, man, with like 3 or 4 just different ways of actually looking at how to look at sunlight now, how to understand what these lights, these LEDs that we so in love with, that how we can say, hold on now, is it a trick? You know what I mean? And this is dope, bro. I see, and guys, Peter doesn't tell you everything he does. Peter is also a writer for Iron Man magazine.
Oh,
he has multiple articles in the books, and he's been featured in them, and he's also just picked up a multimedia IMBA PMBA contract because he's so knowledgeable and because he has a way of putting it out there. Like there's a lot of people out there that you can say, oh yeah, this person is this person is this, but if they can't give anything out, you're just this, you know what I mean? So, Peter, I'd like to thank you for that, brother. I'd like to thank you.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned it because my last article in Iron Man magazine in the last issue was about this stuff, circadian rhythm. It's called Better Light, Better Body, and I kind of break it down. So
definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Y'all hear that? Hey, go to Iron Man magazine and look at, what is it called?
Better
light, better body. It's in the last issue of the magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
y'all can go pick up this magazine from anywhere, man. Iron Man magazine is owned by IMBA right now, and they are putting some really, really good articles. It's not saying the old magazines wasn't good. It's just that you have to update it now, right? So
Right.
what they're doing, they're bringing new inventive things in there. They're actually showing the trueness of a bodybuilder in a natural scene. Iron Man magazine is all natural, guys. So, Peter, I know we said we wanted to see a demonstration from you, brother.
Oh yeah.
Have for us. What you
Yeah.
got? What you
I got all kinds of toys here, man. You know, well, remember I told you. Okay, let me talk about something really quick.
Okay.
So speaking of the sun, right? The sun, the rays of the sun hit the earth, right? Electromagnetic fields hit the earth, right? This energy, you feel the heat, right? And it goes into the earth, and when it comes out of the earth, it emits something called ions, negative ions. So, you know, if we're talking about exercise and working out or stress, when you create stress in your body, you go into this fight or flight mode, right? Sympathetic, right? Parasympathetic, rest, relax, recover, fight or flight, sympathetic. So that's in part of your nervous system that you can't really control. That part. Well, you can control your emotions and stuff. Well, maybe some people can, but but when we live in just all of this artificial light, all of these wavelengths of energy that are not natural. So the sun reaches the earth and it creates a frequency, okay? It's called the Schumann resonance, okay? It's a vibration that vibrates at 11.7, it's a wavelength. It's 11.7 hertz, okay? Just think of the number 11.7. That's what humans are meant to be under the influence of, that kind of a frequency, okay? Well, now we've got 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, all of these wavelengths of energy that are artificial. Like we have artificial light versus natural light. Well, we have artificial energy versus natural energy. So all of this artificial energy, 5G, just 4G, let's just talk about 4G because we're already into 5G, but do you know the human body is used to receiving, and I wrote about this in Iron Man magazine too, the human body is used to receiving 11.7 hertz of energy, okay? Do you know how many hertz of energy 4G puts through your body when you're in, we have Wi-Fi that's wireless now, so these are all energy fields coming through us, right?
Right.
Do you know how many hertz of energy are in 4G?
I would never know.
Couldn't even guess.
Yeah, can you
Not even gonna.
You'll never get 2.4 billion with a B.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. So there's a little difference there.
a
5G
little.
is up to 90 billion hertz, which are wavelengths hitting you, going through you. Okay. That's why if you live near cell towers, if you live near all of these 5G, receivers, that's as bad, if not worse, for your body as artificial light. So we live in this world. So you got to figure out ways to, we have to figure out ways to mitigate these wavelengths of energy. But okay, so that's what happens. Okay, so when you're stressed, when you're working out, it's a physical stress, right? You're working your muscles. When somebody's chasing you, it's a physical stress. When you're worried about something, it's a mental stress. But all of those elicit themselves in our muscles because when we're mentally stressed, we're like this, right? So when you're like this, your traps are constantly contracting, okay? So what's the byproduct of your muscles contracting, whether it's from a physical stress or a mental stress? You get the burn. What's the burn?
Lactic acid.
Lactic acid, right? So lactic acid is a positively charged ion, okay? We don't have to know what an ion is. It's a positively charged ball, okay? So in order to be healthy, you need to neutralize that with a negative charge. Okay, positive and negative cancel each other out, right? Okay, so you have to find a way. So working out, you're creating this lactic acid buildup and this positive charge. How do you neutralize that? Okay, you have to. There's certain things you can do, and that's why I was talking about the walking on the earth barefoot. The sun puts this charge in the earth, and it then reverberates back out into your body. So when you're actually barefoot on the ground, on the earth, you receive negative balls or negative ions. Okay. So negative ions cancel out positive ions. So it's like a big game. You know, we accumulate positive ions through our day, right? Which are a waste product that cause problems, that cause disease in our bodies to be unhealthy if we don't neutralize them. So using something that will give you a negative charge will neutralize them. So that's why I go out every morning and I stand barefoot on the ground and I neutralize the charges that are in my body that are positive. And so check this out. This thing right here. Oh, yeah. So this is a grounding mat. It's grounded to the earth. Okay. So when I'm standing on this, it's as if I'm standing on the earth, because it has a wire that goes to you know, in your electrical, in your outlets, the little round hole, right? Yeah. The ground, right? Yeah. You've got your plug, your 3-prong plug. You've got the 2 regular slots and then the circle, right?
Yeah.
The circle is actually, there's no power going through that. That's a ground. That is grounded to the earth, so that you know, because of the electricity coming through. So this plugs into that little round part that is grounded to the earth. So it's bringing negative ions from the earth to this pad. And so what I'm doing, I've got my bare feet right now, and I'm just standing on, I do this every night to try to diffuse all the positive ions that I've been accumulating all day from my workout and from other things. I actually have a mat that I sleep on, and it's on our bed. It's underneath the sheets. You don't even know it's there. Same thing. And so I'm grounding all night. All the positive ions I'm accumulating all day, I neutralize them at night. Because how else are you going to recover if you don't get rid of the positive charge in your body? Most people have issues, health issues, because of those positive charges.
So it's so you're constantly battling. You would say the layman's person is constantly battling to stay in homeostasis. But the problem is, without the knowledge or the actual equipment, they would always be positively charged. And
again,
which accumulate to disease.
Yeah, exactly. How did humans live? 10,000 years, walking on the earth, right? Sleeping on the ground, sleeping in caves, sleeping grounded. Mm-hmm. We lost that. We now, like I said, live in boxes under artificial light. So how do you mitigate that, and how do you offset that so you can be a healthier human? Mm-hmm. Right?
And that kind of proves the fact that a lot of big city people get more diseases, because, you know, than the ones that live in those far out countries and stuff like that. You know, like living in the rural areas, because we always think, oh, they don't have the technology, but actually they're walking out there barefooted. They're actually utilizing what the earth is giving them. Where in the cities, you know what I'm saying, I want to pick on a major city, but New York, for example, it's nothing but stone and concrete everywhere. They call it the concrete jungle.
And you're missing, and the biggest point is everybody's got technology. The more people that the population density maximizes electromagnetic field dose in the human body, because everybody's got devices, everybody's got Wi-Fi. So you're in a fog of non-native electromagnetic fields. They're not native to your body. So population density is not the best place to be for overall health, because you're just living in a fog of it. So that is going to have a negative ramification. And, you know, the earthing and grounding, all of that stuff is valuable, but when you're in a big city, and the further you are away from the Earth's surface in a skyscraper, the worse it is.
Mm.
I just think you should say that because I read a study when I was going through my bachelor's degree, and they took two control groups, one of them, both of them above 30% BMI, clinically obese individuals. One of the control groups, the main factor that tied them all together is they were all farmers. Of course, farmers, they eat and have a certain lifestyle according to what's on their land. And these other individuals were obviously modern. They lived within city limits, eating what was in their environment, easily accessible. And they found that the farmers usually had less health problems in compared to the next, even though they were both within that obese category. And obviously, we can attribute exercise because the farmer is out there with his livestock, with his land, working from sun up to sundown, and versus the opposite, they would be working in an office or working a less strenuous job. So that's one of the things they were talking about. But now I'm kind of curious as to everything you're speaking on. Is that a factor? In your opinion, would you say that would give them less inclination to, have disease because they're with their land, with their farms, with their animals out in the sun?
Well, as I said when we first started talking, all-cause mortality, death from anything, is 100% correlated to natural light. So yeah, it's a fact. It's not even it's a known fact. Even skin cancer is less with more natural light. And we won't get into it, but I can tell you how skin cancer really happens. And it isn't from natural light as much as it is from all the stuff we talked about and all of the artificial blue light that is on our skin that damages our skin. So that's another story for another day.
Yeah,
but listen, Rock. Hey, listen. I remember. Yes, I did tell you about your gut, and I remembered what I told you. Your gut lining, okay, has cells that called epithelial cells, and those cells turn over. Every cell in our body has to turn over really fast, or has to turn over at some point, right, for us to continue to live. Our spinal cord doesn't. That's why when you cut your spinal cord, you're paralyzed, right? We haven't figured that one out yet. But the cells in your gut, they turn over about every 24 hours, okay? So what I was telling you, Rock, was if you don't get enough natural light and get your body clock on the right time, it doesn't know 24 hours have passed because it's 12 o'clock noon in the middle of the summer. So those epithelial cells, they may take 2 weeks to turn over, and your gut is a battlefield anyways with everything we put in it, right? And so we need to be on the right time for our gut to turn those epithelial cells over quick enough so that you can renew them, and that is going to give you the healthiest gut that you can give. Everybody has all these gut problems, and they take all of these supplements and all these other things, but really what you need to do is get on the right time with your circadian rhythm for your gut to work properly.
See, you're going to have me telling all my clients to go outside and sunbathe. So, hey, y'all hear that, ladies? Hey, I'm giving y'all permission right now. Dr. Peter told me that you need to go outside and sunbathe. So all my clients, do it, dang it.
Absolutely.
Peter, man, hey, I don't want to cut this thing short. We're going to have to do another one with Peter. Y'all agree? We're going to have to do another podcast with Peter, man.
So much information.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I love talking about all this stuff. It's great.
Man, and it's been amazing, man. And it's been so interesting I don't want to make it too crazy long because then people, they won't get it all. So we're going to have to just break this thing up, all right?
Sure.
Before I get you off here, though, I do want to give people a little bit of more information about you. I will say one thing about a very humble people. It's hard for them to talk about themselves. So they got hype men like me that just bring it back, all right? So in 2019, Dr. Peter was inducted into the INBA Hall of Fame. And also in 2019, he participated in a documentary on Generation Iron, Natty for Life. Generation Iron came back and they wanted to show a lot of people, because we had a lot of bodybuilders dying, guys. Like, there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of things going on, and it kind of tainted a little bit of the bodybuilding. I guess you can say lifestyle. So we had people dying at 30, 25, 44. So what Generation Iron did, they was like, nah, we can't let that happen. This is what we built. So they found an organization, which was the IMBA, PMBA, and they picked certain people out of the whole group, man, and they did a whole spread on them, man, and it was so dope. If you guys get a chance, go watch that one. You'll see a lot of my teammates, as far as Peter, Peter's on, he's on Team USA with me also.
Absolutely.
You have Brandon's on there. You have Adrian, and I think you have Alondra's on there, isn't she? Alondra's on there also.
Philip Ricardo.
Philip Ricardo. These are all legends, man. These are all legends that has been doing this for years. So it's just not somebody new getting in the game and don't know the actual lifestyle. These are people that's been doing it, training people, and actually live that lifestyle. It never turned to the field of taking medication. Also, Peter was married for 29 years. He mentioned it earlier today. Peter has 2 kids. His wife, his name's Jackie. I'm sorry, I skipped that part. Her name is Jackie. That's like my sister, man. We every time we see each other, it's like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Yep. Peter also has 2 kids. And what's next for you, Peter? That's what I want to know. What can people be looking forward to seeing what's next with you? Now, I've been seeing your Instagram things, guys. So go check Peter page out. Check out his Instagram. He's giving out a lot of information. But what's next, brother?
Well, I mean, signing this multimedia contract between Ironman Magazine, Generation Iron Fitness Network, and the PNBA, it's given me an opportunity to take a lot of what we're talking about today and putting some content out, so it is out there. And I can actually create maybe a library of information that I can use at some point and compile it for whatever purpose. But I just love to educate. I mean, I'm a practitioner, but I love to educate people on how to be healthy and stay healthy. It's all about health span, not lifespan. And so being the head lab rat, the journey continues. What's next for me is the next new science I understand and learn that I apply to myself and take it on stage with me as long as I can. And I'm like I said, being the head lab rat, I'm all about teaching and educating for the long term. So that's what's next. It's more the same but new, right? It's all the new stuff that I don't know now. In 1980, when I did my first show, I mean, if I had any of this information now, that's why I can be almost 60, be way better than I was in 1981. And each year I still feel like I'm better. I think I can get better this year than last year with the new stuff that's out there. And you know what? It's a blast, applying it and learning it. So, that's what's next. The journey, it continues.
Hey, man. It's always good to see you on that stage too, man. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's almost getting starstruck. Like, I know somebody famous, and he knows me too. Like, it's crazy because when you get on stage, it's like watching TV, man. It's like I watched this stuff growing up on TV, and now I'm with one of the legends. Like, and I don't know, man. I love seeing you up there.
Likewise. I mean, I've had a little experience. I practiced.
Yes.
So little. I will say I would never guess you're about to hit your 60th birthday. I honestly would have guessed probably mid-40s, early 40s.
July 5th, yeah, July 17th. I'll be 60 years young and looking forward to it, man. I'm ready. I'm embracing it and, looking forward to what's going to happen in my 60s and then look forward to the 70s and beyond.
Yeah, well, looking great. That's all. I can't say that.
Well, guys, do we have any more questions for Dr. Peter?
No, I'll probably end up holding him for another 2 or 3 hours if I did.
Yeah, because I got cool stuff. We'll do some more. I got this thing is like the coolest thing ever. But that's what I use for treatment. I got my blood flow restriction bands. I got so much stuff that we could talk about.
Well, next time, I guess next time maybe I can come to you and I'll be there with you, and you could do it on me and then explain it to people, so it'll be a little more easier. You know what I mean? So, Peter, yeah, we'll do something like that. We'll link up. We'll do something like that, and because these guys are already all the way in Arizona. Sure. So we'll link up. We'll do something, and I'll be your guinea pig. How about that? You know what I'm saying? I'll be the lab rat.
You're my lab rat, man. Everybody's my little lab rat because I'm the head lab rat here.
There you go, bro. It'll be like Pinky in the brain. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm Pinky because you're the brain, bro.
That's a big Pinky.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Well, hey, man, this has been a great show, guys. Hey, man, thank you, Dr. Peter, for showing up.
Enjoyed it
out there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, E, shoot him out. This is my boy E, the boss, and I got my man Alan. And this has been Black Sheep Parlor, guys. Stay tuned for the next one, because we're gonna be bringing Mr. Peter back. And we out.